So if you were to ask me what I hold dear in life, this is probably what I would say. My friends, family, having fun, and money. Here's the thing. The last two are pretty finite. Also, not to mention, you kinda need money to have fun these days. So what's the main thing you need to get money? A job. Okay, I know. People don't like to hear that word. But that's what we're talking about today. We all know the struggle of finding decent work that pays well. These days, it's way easier than it was 20 years ago. Now that we have things like food delivery, rideshare, and a plethora of web-based remote jobs. Not to mention endless listings of fake jobs on Indeed.com. There's an endless wave of possibilities on the internet to make money. Now, today I am mainly going to be focusing on job boards and some of my own experiences I've had in the time I've worked since about 2019, as that's around the time I started working after high school. First off, I just want to say job boards are terrible. I know, hot take. You go on these sites looking for a job and it's just endless hours of just wading through listing after listing, applying here and there just to not get accepted for any interview, or just get ghosted entirely by an employer. Occasionally, you will be able to get to set up an interview, and that's all fine and dandy, but a lot of the time, people setting up these interviews have them in these giant bulk sessions. It's understandable. It's the most convenient in terms of getting to do 20 interviews in less than 2 hours, just to then pick like 1 or 2 people. It can feel like a big waste of time for everyone. I remember one time when I was just trying to look for a part-time job and the same scenario happened about 4 separate times. And with each one, I was never offered a follow-up interview for any one of them. I had to go out of my way and call some of these people to see if they forgot about my application or something. I feel like it should be criminal not to give people updates on job offers. The anxiety and time wasted waiting for replies is an awful feeling. Another one of the weirder types of interviews I've gotten are the ones where you get an interview confirmation, then you go to check it out, and they basically make you work half a shift to try out the place. I think this is something more common with like mom and pop shops and local establishments. No corporate employer would offer this. I feel like this should be practiced and offered more at workplaces. Just let me see the type of shit I'm getting into before I waste my time with all the paperwork BS. The one time I got an interview just like this was when I was looking for something on Indeed. It was for a line cook position at one of the restaurants here in my hometown. I went in expecting the usual talk to the manager, do some paperwork, then leave and waiting for a callback. Not this time though. They just sat me down, asked me some rudimentary questions, and just said, "Alright, everything looks fine. Would you want to work the rest of tonight's shift?" I was confused at first and asked, "Wait, you mean like right now?" And the manager just replied, "Yeah, just show us what you can do and see if you like it, and we'll give you the position." I ended up working at every single station at that place. Garde-manger, sauté, broiler, fryer, you name it. I got to see everything in this kitchen. It was pretty good for the most part, except for one thing. The line here was claustrophobic as hell, like as if I was exploring the Nutty Putty Cave itself. Now, I have worked in many small kitchens before, but this was insane. Now, I don't know how many of you might know the inner workings of a restaurant/fast food place, but I'm sure you might know that there's usually enough space to walk around back there. Not here though, as the main line section where most of the food was made was no wider than half the size of a pickup truck. This made it extremely hard to navigate this section of the kitchen to the back of the dish pit area. If you had to walk down the aisle of this line and there was someone on the other side of it, like on the grill, you would have no choice but to physically get behind or in front of someone to just shuffle past them, with almost no chance you didn't make some sort of butt-to-butt contact with them. It was quite literally dick to ass. There was a lot to this place, from it being an absolute chaotic mess in the back, to the staff not exactly being the type of folk I wanted to be around all the time. I.e., everyone looked like they were over 30 and also ex-convicts. It just wasn't for me. But I was able to get paid for the half a days of work I did, and I just went home with a bunch of the food that I made while I was there. I think it was like some braised short ribs or something with like mashed potatoes and fried Brussels sprouts. It was very good, but not good enough to make me want to stay with everything I saw wrong with the place. Now, besides long waits for interviews, strange and sketchy ones that bring one's business strategies into question, another thing that makes getting a job hard is just trying to get comfortable in the first place. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's set the stage. You go through the whole shitty part of getting the job you prayed for all this time, and now you actually have to go through with it. Yeah, that's right. You don't just get a check just from signing up. Now you have to actually go in, meet new people, talk to strangers, get hazed, and get used to all the backbreaking labor you're forced to do now. This is where you're going to be for the next 40 hours of your week, or more if you're unlucky. I think one of the worst experiences that I had was when I started to work at this bougie-ass hotel around the same time last year. At the time, I had an on-call job and was trying to find something to fill in all the hours I couldn't get somewhere else. To be honest, besides occasionally making YouTube videos, the only other good thing that I'm good at is being a chef. It's a useful skill I think everyone should have, and an even better trade. There's always a need to feed, so job security is great. Anyways, side tangent aside, so this hotel I started working in, it was your typical corporate chef position where I was put on the AM line making eggs. Yep, that's it.
You were laying them?
No, not laying them. I mean whatever. Okay, well, maybe there was a bit more than just cooking eggs, but it was a relatively simple gig. Waking up way too goddamn early and going into the freezing winter cold just to then spend 8 hours on a blistering hot line in a hotel kitchen. I got to do a lot of things like prepping ingredients, learning to cook all the typical breakfast dishes at this place's menu, like chicken fried steak, pancakes, avocado toast, and the more unconventional breakfast stuff like chilaquiles, 3 different types of eggs Benedict, including shakshuka, a traditional Greek egg dish if you didn't know. I even had to do some of the lunch menu stuff as I didn't leave that place until like 2 p.m. Now I can deal with the pressure of like cooking 100 eggs 30 different ways in a fast and intense kitchen. That's not my issue. It always comes down to the people that I work with. Now, I don't know what the hell has happened from my then first job working in a very chill steakhouse back in 2019 to then in 2024 at this bougie hotel, but it seems like everyone who works back of house likes to think that they're Gordon fucking Ramsay. as they like to LARP as a Michelin star chef with a huge Instagram following for some godforsaken reason. You know that guy that J.K. Simmons plays in Whiplash? Yeah, they like to act like him, but in chef form. I have never been in such a place where everyone acted like such a dick over the tiniest of things. I did a pretty good job, but there was like one time where someone really got upset at me because I wasn't mixing a batch of French toast batter right. Apparently, I was adding some dry ingredients last into the mix instead of at the beginning. Now, I have done this many times, both ways in fact, and to be honest, I have never noticed a difference, especially when you use these giant-ass stick blenders to mix everything together. If you have ever used one of these giant industrial immersion blenders on anything liquid, it's safe to say that after 5 seconds, ain't nothing coming out of that container unmixed. It's a lot of this nitpicky, micromanaging things bosses do that really get on my nerves sometimes. Maybe the persnicketyness of these sous chefs come from the fact that they have no control of their lives outside of their 3 divorces and radio dials permanently stuck to Creed.
Hold me now! I'm 6 feet from the edge of the ground! Baby, oh shit! Ah!
After that one encounter, I also had a run-in with a really ill-tempered line worker when I was wrapping up my stuff about to leave. Now, this guy was coming in for his dinner service shift, so we were basically having to switch out all of my stuff on the line with all of his stuff that he needed for dinner. Now, mind you, this is like my 3rd day working here, and I was never really told much on how to do all this and where stuff went. So here I was expecting to be told how to do some of this stuff, but nope, this guy immediately comes up to me and gets all up in my face asking, "Why isn't all your fucking shit put away, man?" And I just look at this guy and go, I don't know, this is like my 3rd day and the guy teaching me everything around here hasn't shown me where everything goes. So then he responds, "Are you stupid or something? This shit should have been done hours ago. Do you not know how much prep I need to do?" He then just walks away grumbling to himself as he goes into the back and starts slamming pots and pans, all mad and shit like. So I just go back to what I was doing, slowly putting everything away, just flabbergasted that someone would act this way, to a new employee nonetheless. The thing that surprised me was the fact that this dude looked no older than I did, maybe late 20s at most. This wasn't some like hardened veteran chef, this was like some fucking child having a temper tantrum because he didn't have his station already pre-prepped for him. Maybe this is just me, but having your station set up for you in a kitchen is a luxury. I've only worked in places where if someone helped you out at your station, you were grateful. And even if they couldn't get around to it or, they didn't know where things went, you'd still be understanding. You never go out of your way to antagonize someone just because they haven't jerked you off and called you a good boy. It was incidents just like this and a couple of other small things that made my tenure at this job very short-lived. And I quit less than a week later after being hired on. Which wasn't the worst thing to happen, since later that month I got told by my on-call job that there was an open spot, so I could actually work more hours and have a steady schedule. And with that, I haven't looked back on any chef position ever since. Okay, I know I have been talking about a lot of my own awful personal experiences as a cook, but I want to know what some of your own terrible encounters you have had in your day-to-day at the old 9 to 5. This is engagement bait. So we kind of know what makes a job horrible to work at, but what can we say about a job you might actually want to be at? Well, that's a hard question, mainly because I don't exactly have a real solid answer myself. As much like everything in life, the enjoyment of one's job is entirely subjective. Though, you know what they say, if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. Which, in my opinion, I think a lot of people get misinterpreted as meaning the job you want needs to be fun and easy. Now, ideally, I'm sure anyone would want this, but in my experience, it doesn't matter how much fun you get from a job. It's still gonna feel like work at the end of the day. What I think what really matters in a good job you will want to keep is personal satisfaction. Personal satisfaction as in meaning you will want to work as hard as you can and feel proud about what you do. Now that might be something as little as being a line cook serving hot meals in a restaurant to good folk in your hometown, working as an engineer to help create new contraptions to help better the human condition, or even be a firefighter or EMT helping others in dire situations. If you actualize what your job means to not just yourself but others around you, you will see that a good job is one where you are happy giving your best effort into all of your work, where others care and appreciate you for said work. And if you combine that with a flexible work-life balance and a comfortable wage, then yeah, I think that's a pretty good recipe for a good job. The job you need is out there. It just takes time to find it. Just keep doing what it is that you love to do. An employer will soon someday love to find a person just like you and exploit it. If you are someone still in school, keep at it. You're probably already 20k in the hole, but I'm pretty sure you already know that. I'm sure that lotto ticket is around the corner somewhere. If none of this is working out for you, you can always do the third dumb option and be an entrepreneur. Which I can now segue into my own bullshit. Check out the Underground Collective, my own business that I co-own with these 3 other assholes. You might know them. We've got a couple of really awesome anthro-based products like t-shirts, stickers, our summer edition of the Industrial Park Anthro Zine. It's got a really cool tri-tip sandwich recipe in it. I know, I wrote it. We also have more stuff to come soon. Just click on the link below to browse our current selection. Alright, that's all I want to say. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and do all the stupid bullshit like, commenting, and subscribing. Also, if YouTube gives you that option to hype this video on mobile or whatever, it would really help nudge my channel out there so others can listen to these schizo ramblings. Alright, this has been Koda.